Hello, welcome back to another episode of Midlifer. So in this basic episode today, we're going to talk about where to buy your film cameras and a little bit about buying online.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe I can start with where you can buy your film cameras locally in Singapore. So for film cameras, they're all like used products and quite old vintage stuff. You can't really buy a new film camera now. So obviously we'll head to a second-hand store. So there's a store called Riceball in Peninsula Shopping Centre. So there's a video we've done so you can catch it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
just to add on as well, you sometimes don't want to get like a pristine new camera, especially if it's been sitting on a shelf for like 20-30 years, because the camera, the internals, the lubricants might have dried up, it might not be functioning properly. So even when looking for these cameras, it's good to look for something that's a little bit used, as in of course, if you're a collector, you want it as pristine as possible. It's gonna just move from one shelf to another shelf and you're never gonna use it, then fine, you go for the most pristine one. But just be a bit careful when, as in, sometimes the sellers are quite honest that they've never used the camera for many years. So when you buy such a camera, just factor in maybe the cost of a repair or CLA into the price actually.
And sometimes some of these cameras cannot be repaired.
Yes.
Because they're so old, you can't get parts. I mean, if you get Leica, probably you can still fix it, but other brands like those very old Nikons, if the electronics fails, you can't really fix it anymore.
Yeah, usually it's a bit harder to find a repair tech that can repair electronic cameras. It's not impossible, but the thing is, you're a beginner, you wouldn't know who to send it to. Okay, that's first thing. And the person you can send it to might not even exist in Singapore. There might be like 2 in the whole world.
Correct.
Yeah, and they probably would have like a wait list of like 6 months, you know.
But as a beginner, I don't think you'll be spending like a couple of thousands on a second-hand camera.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You should stick to something simple. Going to a physical store like this is excellent because you know you're getting like working cameras. The other thing, of course, being that at the physical stores, maybe they can recommend a more affordable option if they have some there.
So the benefit of a shop like Riceball is that they have an online presence on Carousel. So they list all the cameras there, so you can browse it first. The price is all listed. And they actually grade the conditions of the items very well. So if they say it's like a 9.5, it's a 9.5.
Yes.
They don't bluff you, and once you go down, it's actually like almost broken or something like that.
Actually, if you look at like the listings, they all have like their product number there. And the photos of the actual product. So let's click on this lens, for instance. Then you have photos of the lens close up, the lens elements you can see. All this will help to make for you to decide It will help you decide whether this is the lens you want, the camera you want, and you can always verify it with the serial number that's listed there.
So they might have a few different items at different conditions in terms of how mint or how used it is. So you can just pick exactly the one that you want, and you can go there and have a look. So the benefit of the shop having a physical shop front is that you can go there and try it out. You can physically inspect the item. You should do some checks on it yourself also to make sure everything is working.
And then we will cover that in a future episode. So don't worry about that. And a physical shop like this, usually they have a reputation to protect. So normally these cameras will come with some degree of warranty or protection for a buyer. So if you have any issues within like the first week or two, normally they can help you to remedy it or do something just to alleviate the purchase, you know.
So one thing also about visiting a physical shop, if the shop is not very keen to let you test and play out with the item, and if they're not very happy entertaining you, it's a red flag. It might be that the items are not as good and they have like no confidence in the items that they're selling. So I would say try to avoid those shops where firstly the staff are not so friendly and they don't let you play around with it.
I think when buying any good, you should be able to inspect it. Like before you buy an iPhone, usually they will allow you to open up the box and check that everything is inside. So and for a second-hand good, this is even more important. You want to inspect for damages and see whether you're getting what you're getting, you know? So it's critical that you go to stores like this, and if you look at their reviews online, you'll notice that they're reviewed by 5 stars by over 200 people.
And when you're new especially, right, a lot of more, I would say maybe unscrupulous sellers will try to push their defective, maybe a bit faulty items to you because you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know any better. So that's why it's good to stay with
reputable
shops.
So as a start, I would definitely recommend you go down to Riceball because their prices are competitive. They are not more expensive than other shops. The staff are very friendly. You can meet a lot of
like-minded individuals and further the hobby as well.
Yeah.
They do some, I think, minor events here and there. So if you're interested, you can always pop by those events.
Yep.
And one thing I just want to point out when buying cameras like this, you're not really paying for the camera per se. There's a certain amount of money you're actually paying for the physical camera, but there's a certain amount of money you're paying for the service, the checking, the fact that there is a warranty inside as well, you know.
So even though the shop may not offer you a warranty, I'm sure if it's broken, they can assist in getting it fixed for you, of course, at your own expense, lah.
Yes.
But they will assist you with the process and where to go and get it done properly.
Exactly. So even if, let's say, you have an existing film camera, you have some faults with it, you can bring it down to them. They can probably guide you to the right direction. Or if they feel like this camera is not worth repairing, they'll be upfront with you. And you can, I guess, look at your next purchase, you know? Yeah.
And the good thing is that if you're sick of your camera, you want to upgrade, you can sell it back to them. For credit, you can like just upgrade the camera. So that's convenient.
Yeah, so that's an easy way. Riceball sells a lot of Leica stuff. So if you love Leica or you want to get into that system, then Riceball is a perfect place to visit.
So I would say that given the vast majority of these kind of sellers being online now, on Carousel for Singapore, you can actually compare prices.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's say if you're buying something like a Nikon F3 here, you can just compare how much people are selling the item for, and then if you go down to a shop like Riceball, you can compare the prices with them, you can negotiate a little bit. Yeah, so that's also one thing you should do. You should check out the prices.
Yeah, so check out the prices, look at the reviews by other users. The other thing is look at the photos as well. The photos are a good giveaway on the whether the product is in a good state. The other thing is you don't want to be misled by stock photos. So make sure the photos are of the product itself. So if it doesn't have like a serial number listed or anything like that, you may be, your red flags should be flying already, you know. You need to be a bit more careful. So as a user, we wouldn't recommend that. And you don't want to be like at the risk of being conned by an unscrupulous seller.
So if you don't look online and you just go to like Peninsula, right, there are a lot of second-hand used camera shops. If you're a tourist, I would say if you're new to this, please go to a reputable shop. Don't just walk into any and then just buy it, because we also don't really have very good experiences with some of the shops here.
So, and as a tourist, you're not going to be here for 2 weeks sometime. So you're going to leave the country. So warranty and all that becomes a bigger issue, you know? So you buy from a reputable shop that has already tested the camera, and if something goes wrong, try to test it straight away as well. And if something goes wrong, you have those few days that you're here to quickly get it fixed.
But I mean, if you're experienced camera tech, you can go to any shop and you can like teach them.
You can teach them, you can bargain as much as you want, you know.
You can check everything properly, push the price down.
But pushing price down comes with some caveats, you know. So like Ian, you know a lot about digital cameras. So prices will vary, you know. You'll have very expensive cameras, very cheap cameras for the same model.
Correct.
So you may wonder why there's such big disparity.
So I also wonder why. So as an example, I just got a A7R5. So on the second-hand market, they're probably going for about 4K. Brand new in the Sony shop is about 5 plus. From other reputable shops like Ellen Photo, TK Photo, Cathay Photo, it's all around the 5K range. You shouldn't be able to get it for like 4K flat. But online, you can look at some sellers who like tell you like, oh, this is 100% new. Then when you click into it, right, it's like 4250. So it's like almost $1,000 cheaper than the official retailer. And the fishy thing is that when you go down to the description, it says with warranty and without warranty. So if you were to buy an official like Sony distributors set, right, it definitely comes with warranty. So the without warranty sounds very fishy. You don't know where it's from. And especially if you're a tourist, right? If it breaks, I don't know if you can get it fixed anywhere in the world, because you don't know is there a warranty or not. And for electronic stuff, I would say just buy it for warranty. Because it will just be a paperweight if it breaks.
And you're spending so much money. Sometimes don't cheap out. As in, we're not saying anything about this seller.
We don't know, but it's just like
they could be honestly selling this at a very good price. But when things are a little bit too cheap, or just be a bit more careful. That's what we're saying.
And there's also that technique where they get you down to their shop, then after that they say no, it's out of stock. So they're going to push
it's like a bait
one.
and switch, you know. They tell you this product is actually out of stock or they sold their last model, then they'll try to offload something you didn't even want in the first place, right? You know.
So I think this applies to all other ads also online that you see. Even for like the like
anything you can buy an iPhone, for instance. If the iPhone price is, as in, they cannot get the iPhone price cheaper than what like some of these resellers are getting, right?
Correct,
so it's just crazy.
And why would anyone sell it lower than their cost price? It doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So if the deal sounds too good, like go through the whole price list, see where majority of it falls under, and I think if you stay in that middle bracket, you'll be quite safe. Usually the more expensive models either have a unique serial number or they have a special paint colorway, or they are like really mint, you know, collector's edition, that sort of thing. Then they might be priced a bit higher. So those are things you may not want to start collecting or buying when you're a beginner. But if you stick in the middle price range and then you compare between them and find something you like, then I think it should be quite a safe purchase. Another place I like to buy from is actually on eBay. So usually there's a lot of sellers for cameras online. Personally, when buying on eBay, I like to buy it from Japanese sellers. The reason being is that they have a very structured way in which they sell their products. So if you look at all this, you'll notice that their photos all look similar, you know? And if you click on, let's say, this one, for instance, usually they will say like meter works, near mint. I wouldn't be reading too much into it because the Japanese grading system is a bit funny. There'll be like excellent plus plus plus, mint plus plus plus, optical mint, stuff like that. So I wouldn't read too much into it. But let's say I click this. Looking at the seller themselves, they have a good reputation, you know, 98.2% positive. That's a good start. They've sold like 159 cameras. Then the beauty of Japanese sellers is they have this very systematic way of displaying the camera. So you can look through each camera, look at the lens element, you can see if there's any imperfections in the lens. You can look at the camera from different angles such as this. And of course, at the end, they will also have some notes on the camera itself. So if you look here, the description, it will tell you the serial number so you know which camera you're actually getting.
Correct.
Then it will tell you the appearance, the optics. Most of these cameras, they will always have like a few dust inside. So that one is something unavoidable, you know. And if there's any functional issues, normally it'll be stated there. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to them with a private message. And normally they are quite fast in responding because this is basically their online business. Yeah, so personally, I will really look carefully at the photos because these are photos of the camera itself.
Correct.
Yeah, so sometimes you'll notice a scratch. And it actually is there on that camera, you know. So at
let's
least
look at this. Excellent plus 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 plus.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing is the price point is almost similar, you know.
Okay, so this one says excellent plus 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 plus, but there's some sort of user marks on the body. You can see.
Yep.
The paint is a bit worn out,
especially at the edges. There. If you go back to the previous image.
So if you go back to the previous one that was just like near mint, right? This is a way better example than the other one.
And it's just a price difference of maybe $20-$30. Yeah.
Please just check the photos properly because they can say whatever they want to say. Excellent plus 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 plus.
But the photos will be the like a picture speaks 1,000 words, you know. So that will give you a great idea.
Correct.
So that's a great way to look at these, and of course look at the seller. Sometimes you can even look at what other things the seller is selling. Sometimes when I go in looking for a specific camera, I end up getting like confused because I see other cameras and then that just feeds into the guess, you know. So these are things that you need to factor in. Of course, when you buy from like eBay, there'll be shipping and usually there'll be a GST component or like a tax component depending on where you stay. So this is something you need to factor into the cost of the camera itself.
And it's usually in USD, so you got to convert
to Singapore dollar if you're buying that. So obviously the prices here sometimes are actually better than that on Carousel.
Because Carousel it's like a used marketplace. So people.
And you bought cameras from Japanese stores. And when they say it's like excellent plus plus plus, sometimes it's actually what I would consider near mint.
Correct. So also one more thing, if you actually get a chance to go to Japan, just try and get it from a camera store itself because you can test the item out. Because if they grade it as like a C grade, it actually may be quite good condition and for a bargain.
Yeah. And these are, like, as a beginner, it's a great place to actually start. Of course, even in Japan, there are good stores and bad stores. So depending on which city you're going to, just Google which are the reputable camera photography stores, and just visit them. And I'm sure the staff there will be more than happy to help, you know? Yeah. Another place that you can also consider getting film cameras, especially if you're a beginner, are online retailers such as 8story3 as well. So they do have a shop front, but they sell a lot of these beginner cameras. A lot of them are like close to disposable camera or just a simple reloadable camera. But this is a great avenue for you to start your photography journey. You can always buy it from here as well. We do recommend that if you're not sure, you can always reach out to them. They're quite active on their social media as well. Yeah, they do have, I think, a store on online on Carousel as well. So feel free to drop by there as well. So that's a great place to buy. Another place that you can actually buy is from your like vintage flea markets.
Correct.
Yeah. So these flea markets, the problem is sometimes the seller themselves are not sure what they're selling. You know,
sometimes they're not camera sellers.
Yeah, they're not camera savvy at all. They don't know anything about photography. That camera could have been sitting under a basement for the last 5-10 years collecting dust, mold, fungus.
Or maybe it was their grandfather's camera, they just want to sell it off.
So sometimes you can get a good deal if you know what you're looking for. But if you don't know what you're looking for, my advice is avoid buying from such places. You know, the risk of getting a defective product is exceedingly high. You know, especially electronics. If in Singapore's humid environment, lenses also grow fungus very easily, like if not stored well.
Especially the vintage ones, because
the coatings, the coating is not as superior as to what we have now. And even the coatings that we have now also grow fungus. So those cameras from back then would be like a mushroom farm, you know?
So another place that you can look out for cameras are maybe your local photography communities, friends, groups, online, Facebook.
So there are like these Discord groups, there are these Telegram chats, WhatsApp chats. Often at times the first camera we get is not our last camera. So some people, they want to sell their existing camera. Those are great places because you know it's working, or you can, if it's a friend of yours, maybe they can give you a slight discount even, you know, or price it very fairly to you. Or if there's any problems, I'm pretty sure they'll be quite upfront with you as well. But of course this is contingent on the fact that you know what the camera you want, you know, because I may want a Leica M5, but then if they are only selling a Leica M3, then I have to look at other places to search for it.
You can buy a Leica M3 lah.
or you can buy a Leica M3 lah, you know, yeah. So these are things you should look for when getting these cameras. Of course, if you're getting like premium cameras, you should actually store them well. Unlike film, you don't have to refrigerate the cameras, don't worry.
You should keep them in a dry box though.
In Singapore's environment especially, you should keep them in a dry box. If let's say it's your first camera, but you still want to preserve it well, you can make like a makeshift dry box. You can Google it, very simple. Basically, you just put a dehumidifier, desiccant inside like an air-sealed box and put the camera in.
But you also don't want it to be too dry.
Yes.
Because you might dry all the rubber and all the oil and stuff.
Correct. And if let's say there's film inside, you don't want it to become brittle and start breaking as well lah. But these are like just some beginner tips for you to buy your cameras. In the next episode, we're gonna actually cover what are the things you should look for after buying or just before buying a camera.
Basically what to check for when you are buying your camera.
What are the function checks, what are the physical checks you should see. So stay tuned for that episode. If you love this episode, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, feel free to drop them down below. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.